Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for tuning into the video. Just wanted to do a kind of ad hoc, just video on the hop, just with everything that's been going on in the last kind of week or so. Obviously we've had the change to the summer promotion, which I've got slightly mixed emotions about myself because it is called a trading bonus. Okay, so when I outlined everything at the beginning when this was first announced, phase one and phase two. I think I'd kind of said to everyone the main way to benefit from this would be quite simply to just buy and not sell. That's the easy way of making the most of it. But obviously, as a trading bonus, so within each phase, if you're able to buy and then sell for a higher price and keep rolling and making profit on trades, and there's also that angle on things to actually try and make extra profit in terms of the bonus on top of the money you've deposited already. So I'll give you a little example. So at the bottom of the portfolio here, we bought a few players. So we bought like Felix, Bowen, and Felix and Bowen and Werner. In the beginning of phase two, thinking if we can get them to rise throughout phase two, we can sell them for more than what we sold them for, and buy somebody else. And so let's use Bowen as an example. So we spent £29 on Bowen. If we sell him minus the 2%, we would actually, our net buys would be positive. So then the next person we would then buy, we would look to do the same thing. So you're then earning 10% extra on your trading profit. Okay, now when they change it and they made it this whole phase three thing, any plans you had in that phase two are then scuppered. Fair enough that the 5% is then locked in and you're going to get that at the end of the promotion, but then it means this phase three, again, you're starting like we did with the phase one, they just dropped it on us and you're not really able to prepare as well for really making the most of it in that sense as well. So I was a little bit frustrated from that point of view that I'd laid out a strategy on how to maximize it and then they kind of take it away from you in that sense. And don't get me wrong, 10% on phase three is lovely, but you then have to initiate quite quickly a secondary strategy on how to do that kind of thing again. And we've got Rafael Guerrero and we've picked up some Kramaric just because he's nice and cheap for next season. The other thing I wanted to kind of chat about as well, and I see all this stuff on Twitter and various places, but the market's been really volatile the last couple of days with transfer stories, who's going, who's not going. Oh, that transfer looks like it's happening, that transfer looks like it's not happening, and players are popping up and moving, And the main thing you need to, when you're laying out your strategy, guys, for the summer, for the whole time you're on the index, whatever it might be, is you need to have these exit strategies laid out in front of you already, and then take the emotion and take the intricacies out of certain things. So I'll just use Memphis because he's a decent enough example. Okay, so Memphis Depay, he had that nice little Instagram tweet the other day or yesterday, and it's got some press attention today, so he's popped up nice and well. The strategy with him hasn't changed, since we bought him at, what was it, where is he? £1.55. The strategy with him was to get him through a transfer saga and onwards. So having one little Instagram post and him popping up, yeah, sure, we're in a nice position, 20% up, and we can sell him if we wanted to, but that doesn't change the strategy. That falls into the strategy, Whereas with other players, let's say for example, Julian Brandt, we bought him for him potentially maybe moving to a Premier League team, and that's not happened. He made a nice swift transfer to Dortmund, and his price has taken a real dump since then. But the whole point of the fantasy football team, which which we do on a Tuesday, and you can see Depay and Brandt are both part of that strategy. The real thing was not to sell them as soon as they get a pop, but it's having them at a great price ahead of next season so we can sell them later on as the season begins to roll in at a great price to then build the next iteration of the fantasy football team with a lot more capital than what we'd actually deployed in the first place. So I'm not worried that his price has dropped down. If anything, I've actually went, and I'll show you the transactions, I went and bought another couple of them the other day. I bought another 5 of them just to reduce our liability in him, and then when he does go back into the season proper and he's doing well, we're then in a much more attractive position to make more profit as things transpire, as things pop along. Okay, kind of similar thing with Varane. It came out that he was going to stay at Real Madrid, he wasn't going to be leaving. He dropped all the way down to 60p, and you can see he's recovered, he's bounced back ish, kind of well off the back of that, because people know Varane is just a really good player to have. He's at a decent age, he'll be playing Champions League football, Real Madrid will be winning more games than they'll be losing. etc. So when you see these things going on, you know, it could be Tielemans, it could be like we had Dembele the other day getting linked with Man United again, and we did a video on that in our glimpse into the summer ahead, is you really need to evaluate where everything is. And the whole Leon thing, for example, I was chatting to some guys about this the other day, but Leon can't sell everyone. Benfica can't sell everyone. Lille can't sell everyone. You know, these teams that do have a nice little clutch of players that are attractive and are getting attention off other clubs, they can't just sell their whole team, you know, because they've got European football next season, and you know they've got other things on their mind other than just their balance sheet. Will they sell one or two? I think Leon have admitted they will. Lille have already said that they'll sell Pepe, and I think Jonathan Bamba is the other one that's been highlighted as will be sold, but they'll be looking to keep guys like Ikone, Rafael Leao and these types of guys. I think the Brazilian guy Mendes as well, I think he'll be staying. So it's really important, guys. I also had an interesting development on the Guillaume Balaguer podcast where he said the Jovic transfer hasn't actually been concluded. So there might be another twist and a turn, and if somebody like, let's say for example, Sané goes to Bayern, could he be somebody that Man City want? You know, he's at a great age, and you know, selling Sané for 80 million and buying Jovic for 80 million, it does them no harm FFP wise, which is a burning topic for now for Man City, certainly, you know. So these are all the things you need to really consider, guys, when you're buying into a player, is what is the exit strategy, what is the best case scenario, and not letting these things kind of deter you. If anything, they should just be compounding your confidence that, yeah, I knew he was going to get links and it's pushing his value up. Will the links transpire into an actual real world event, like a transfer or something like that? Yes or no? And if you've bought them for the short term, like I have with Bowen, just to buy him, get him to pop up, same with Felix, buy him, get him to pop up and move him on, then when they do pop, then sell them. Don't get greedy and don't think, oh, could they go a bit further? And you know, it's about maximising profit. And now that we're into this phase 3, the extra 10% on your trading profit and on your on your net buys, basically, is something you need to be really mindful of, and not let these intricacies dissuade you from the strategy that you've laid out when you've bought into people, okay? And again, De Gea's another nice little example. You know, we bought De Gea because we think he's going to be linked to transfers. I do believe he'll break into the top 200. He was quite close to it the other day. He's went backwards a little bit, but I think as some more news circulates and something a bit more concrete comes along, again, I think the potential for him to get into the top 200 will happen. And that's my strategy around these types of things. And you'll have your own individual strategy, of course, around different players and whatever as well. But I just wanted to make this video just on kind of on the hop, just to kind of highlight that, listen, you will see every day wild movements. We look right at the top here. This Trincao guy who's at the World Cup and plays for Braga has popped up. Gouiri, Jota or João Felipe. All these guys are popping up now. And if you look on the decrease list, you'll probably see some guys that were popping a few days ago, like De Ligt, Koulibaly, Griezmann, who famously had a big pop a few days ago. Dembele's went backwards a tiny bit, you know. So just to understand, guys, if somebody goes up, they probably will go a bit down at some point. Not these people will not grow exponentially, you know. And I think some of us are kind of poisoned by that whole Callum Hudson-Odoi scenario in January, where he just flew out the traps because people thought he was going to be the next Jadon Sancho, and he might still be, don't get me wrong. But you got to appreciate that that happens, and it will happen so rarely, that you need to set your marker in the sand. This is the profit margin I want to get to with this hold, and then move it on, okay? But equally, when you can see, and Dembele's a nice kind of example, when you see that they are going to, where does he went to? When you see that they're going to level out at a nice little point here, you know your profit where you're sitting at the now is fairly stable. It might fluctuate a little bit, like you can see here, 164 to 162 is not really going to change the world. But selling when you then see an opportunity to come along and buy somebody else, okay? But again, equally, like I always say to you, the best time to sell is when people are buying, because you can release that money quickly and then utilise it. So you need to always have players that you're tracking. You know, do you know what? There's Jared Bowen, he's popped, he's at £1.50 or whatever it might be. Who do I want to buy next? You know, and then you need to have maybe a list of 3 or 4 players laid out already, and then you look at the 3 or 4 of them, right, okay, well, who's in the best position for me to jump on right now? It's him, boom, sell the Bowen, go jump on this guy, and go make a turn on it there, okay, guys? So, market movements, guys, any experiences you've had, positive, negative, or otherwise, please get them in the comment section below. If you're new around here, like, share, subscribe, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care, bye-bye.